Hello cats and kittens. I am Lex and I am your crochet fiberist. On this last day of the year, you know what we should do? Together, you and I? We should prepare to fiber. Guys, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for making this year a little brighter. When I started my podcast, I did not anticipate meeting such interesting people and kind of getting carried away with the fiber, fumes and rekindling my love for crochet. But this podcast, my friends, all of you who are watching, be you lurkers or whatever else, you guys rock super, super hard. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate it. I hope you had a wonderful holiday if you did not. And the holiday involved days off. I hope that worked out for you too. We've got a couple of little bits of news on this last day of the year, including a project that I want to support in the most intense way. We'll get to that in our regularly scheduled segments, but we've got some things to talk about. If you're watching, you can see I'm wearing a curious little item that you might have seen me working on for the past, since the podcast started, I think. So hopefully we will see the fruit of my labor. So yeah, right, let's start with newsies. So there's a need. This isn't a personal, not me need. There is a need for hats for the Syrian refugees who are coming into Canada. And the very fabulous Knitmore girls are standing behind that project. And the LYS that the Knitmore girls go to is a designated drop-off, or you can send them your finished hats. I'm going to include a link at the bottom of the show notes, so you can take a look at that. But I think it's a really generous cause. The idea is just to welcome these refugees to their new lives and just make them feel like they're part of the family. Not to get super sappy, but we are all one human family, and there are some people who are not as cognizant of that fact. I have a lot of opinions on that, but this is a positive podcast, so I'll leave that alone. So yes, I think it's called 2,500 Toques. If this is French, forgive me, because me and French aren't friends. But toques, I believe, are hats. Any type of hat, any type of yarn is what I was told. But I will send links to the Knitmore girls and to the 25,000 Toques website, and that should include drop-off spots and mailing centers in the general vicinity. I think Pearlescence Yarns is maybe one of the few here in the States that are going to be collecting hats to send that way. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I stopped by the LYS to pick up some yarn to deal with that and to combat ignorance and ignorance. Okay, I should probably stop before that turns nasty, and I don't want to do that. So there's that news. The other news was that, just general stuff. I did get a chance to see my parents for the holidays. It was fantastical. It was also kind of interesting, hence the title of our episode. Me and the husband left the house at around 11:30 on Christmas Eve. And we're doing fine. We're making good time. We hit Bakersfield, and we start hearing gravel under our feet as we drove. So my husband surmised that it was ice because icy roads. Bakersfield is about 4,000 feet, or has mountains that are 4,000 feet, and it's kind of like its own little microcosm or microclimate. So it's very, very chilly up there. So we're speeding through and we're like, ugh, this is really weird. And then we hit Tehachapi, and I've mentioned Tehachapi because that's where the fiber retreat happens every year. And that's on the way to my parents' house. So we hit Tehachapi and we start seeing the mountains blanketed in white. And I go, oh, awesome, it's snowing. Beep, it's snowing. Okay. California, that particular part of California doesn't know how to handle snow. That's one thing. That particular road has a history of being shut down in snow. That's problem two. My tires were not really, it wasn't a good idea to be doing our drive in the middle of the night in snow, part the third. And there was a detour, part the fourth. So this is like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'm trying to navigate this. Keep in mind, I've been driving for about 5-ish hours, so I'm barely awake as it is. And I'm terrified because you see the snow, and suddenly there are flurries, and there are snow drifts, and it was terrifying. It wasn't terrible. If you're somebody who comes from a snowy climate, this is nothing. But for somebody who does not come from a snowy climate, it is very, very stressful. And it was so stressful that there were cops directing people through the road so they could move on. The interesting thing is, because this was a microclimate, once you hit, so it was about 5-10 miles of severe discomfort. But once you pass that, there was no rain, no snow, no anything like that. Tehachapi and the mountains surrounding it are around, I think Tehachapi's at like 25, but the mountains are all like 4,000 or something, which is right at the snow line. So there's plenty of snow going on here. But once you leave Tehachapi, you're heading down to about 2,500, which is not snow unless there's something freaky going on, which has happened before. But all that to say, in that sense, I did kind of have a white Christmas. It was absolutely beautiful. I had the old man take pictures. I might have to wrangle them from him and put them on Instagram. So there was that. So I did get to see my parents. We got in around 5:36, and I passed out for 3 hours, got up, hung out with my parents, and then so we hung out with my parents till around 3, and then we went to see his parents, and that was awesome, and his grandmother, which was super awesome, and they just have a giant family, relatively speaking. Like, for me, family is like my mom, my dad. That's how our Christmas looks. Their Christmas is significantly bigger, and it's wonderful. So I got the best of both worlds, and then early on Saturday morning, we were heading right back, and that trip was a lot smoother until we got into the Bay Area and ran into the typical Bay Area traffic. So that was really my holiday, and it was fantastic, and I loved seeing everybody, and yeah, I'm ready for the new year. All right, let's move on. So I talked about that. Ooh, Unhooked. Yes, give me a second. You're going to hear a little noise while I try to grab this. This, boys and girls, is Andromeda. Oh my gosh, the Andromeda Shawl. This is all Tunisian. Christmas Eve, I finished the last few stitches, and I cheated like you would not believe to get there. It's beautiful. It's really, it's so much bigger than what I normally wear, and it is absolutely warm. I really haven't taken it off since I finished it, and I got compliments, including from my husband's aunt, who wants one, and I need to get in touch with her to make her a version for her very own. I love this thing. I can't say enough nice things about it. I know I was grumbling as I was working on the edging, but it's so worth it to have a piece like this, particularly in weather like here, which it's not super cold. It is kind of cold, but you need just a layer. You don't necessarily need to break out the big coats and stuff. This is perfect. I don't even have words for how perfect it is. And I'm just so proud that it got done. It has taken up a lot of my kitting it out and project work time. But I have some things to show you that I am working on. And one thing that I totally forgot to pick up, but was super cool and something I'm working on. So let's talk about my first project. I haven't added the other skein of yarn yet, but see if you can see this. So far, it's two triangles of differing sizes. This one was an equilateral triangle, and then this one is clearly not. What is a scalene? Yeah. And then we're going to have one more scalene triangle on this side. The yarn is Woolfolk Hygge, Hygge. I believe that is a Scandinavian language, Northern European language, and I don't remember which one it is, but it's part of the Woolfolk collection, you know, that amazing, amazing, super soft, what are they calling it? Is it Ovis 21 Merino or something? It's like, it's definitely for a good cause. Anyway, this is 3 skeins of it, and one skein is like 76 yards. It's pretty huge, but check out this really interesting pattern. If you guys have seen the Berrily Cowl, you will notice this will look very familiar, but it's in a different context because, for one thing, this is Tunisian. So the other side is going to be like that too. I have one more skein. I'm going to need to buy another skein. So far, I love this yarn. It is huge. It works up quick. It is a little bit fuzzy, but I don't think it's going to obscure the beauty of this wrap. And this is just going to be something I wear in the house when we don't turn on the heater to keep me warm, because I'm cold all the time, like all the time. So I don't know when this will get done. I need to go to a store and pick up some more of this yarn, but oh my gosh, I love these so much. I love the cross shells so much. They look so cool, and there's so many different things you can do with them. So there's that. This was a special edition yarn from Blue Moon Fiber Arts, and this is Silky Targhee. About 8 ounces, about 700 yards. It's huge, almost the size of my head. And I am working on a wrap that I will probably be introducing in the new year once we work through wedge stitches in our recovered stitches class, which is not going to start this week, but it's going to start next week. So here it is. Here are the wedge stitches. And I'm going to do this for a set number of times, and then I'm going to incorporate some other stitches. And it's going to be a nice rectangular stole-ish, wrap-ish, scarf-ish thing. But here, I'm going to hold this a little bit longer because the few times I've actually watched my episodes, I notice I don't leave my projects out so you guys can see them. So here you go. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. Plenty of yarn. Targhee is kind of a mid-grade wool when it comes to softness, but the silk really, really helps. And honestly, Targhee is just a great yarn. It's very, very poofy and very easy to work with, and I really, really like it. I think I mentioned when I showed this yarn off last time we met that it is beautiful and it is not merino, and that is kind of one of my themes as I move forward in my fiber life. Not everything needs to be merino, and that is okay. So there you go. Let us see if there's anything else in the bag of wonder. I thought I had something else. I could have... Crud. Did I really forget that? I might have. Yeah, here I am showing you all the secrets. Well, then I guess I'll have to talk about that next week and show you a picture. But I'm also working with, you know what? Give me a second. I will find this. Okay, I'm back. So in this bag, I've had a lot of things. This is a current project that's in this bag. I think I'm going to order another one of these because I just love the fabric. This is, yeah, homage to Zelda. Pretty awesome. Anyway, I am currently working on what I'm calling my woolly weight, because this is fingering weight, not like lace weight or anything, or feather weight or anything like that. Herringbone cardigan. This is a new to me stitch called the half double herringbone stitch. And if you look, I'll hold this up a little bit longer so you can see it. It's kind of reversible, which is really interesting. And it has a herringbone like structure, which is fascinating to me. I'd never seen this stitch before in my life, which really thrilled me. I was watching, I think it was called Knit Stitch a Day or Crochet Stitch a Day. I will link them in the show notes, and they were teaching this particular stitch and I was fascinated. So I grabbed this yarn and started working. This yarn is, as you can see, I've got a while to go before I can even cast on for sleeve, or before I can separate for sleeves. My guess is probably 10 rows. The yarn is really spectacular. I'm very proud of it. It was one of my, I think we talked about this. This was one of my Christmas presents to myself. This is Prairie yarn, which is much like another yarn, but it is Bison Merino, and I got it from Lydia Yarns, and I think it's luxury yarn dyed in America. That's what the Lydia stands for, which is cool. I dig it. So she had a kit for a really lovely jacket, so I have the pattern for that, and that's knitted. I might try to figure out how to reverse engineer it for crochet, but she had the kit and the yarn was at a reasonable price, so I grabbed it, and it came to me really quickly. Etsy is thebomb.com. So I'm working on this. This isn't like a super must be done now, but it is something that I'm working on. Oh, by the way, you guys like awesome little items, right? I think I don't know if I showed you guys this. I picked these up at one of my LYS's. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, only of hooks. So you can keep all your hooks in one place. What? I've got 4 hooks here. I also have the other version. So this is, let's see, GIF or EK. And so I've got this version, but I also have the other one with the other hook sizes. So I have like 8 different separate hooks. It's brilliant. I love it. I think I'm going to buy a couple packs, and those might be gifts, or if not gifts, giveaways, because they're so cool. I believe the manufacturer is it Bates or Boy? It is Boy. So I know some people aren't a huge fan of, or have very particular ideas about how they want their hooks to look, but this is incredible. And since I've gone back to regular crochet, it's very, very useful. The only problem is that I essentially have all these other hooks attached to this, so I can't grab it and use it for something else because I will forget. But anyway, this is pretty spectacular. I'm very excited about this. And the final thing I have, I did actually leave in my crochet closet, and I'm not going through there right now. So we're going to have to just deal with it. That would be my Molly Smile a Minute blanket. Yes, Molly, I'm still working on it, except I decided to do something a little bit different. And I was using kind of Aran weight yarn, heavy worsted Aran weight. I decided I'm not doing that. I opted for inBernat blanket, which is the size of my head. This is actually the literal size of my head. inBernat blanket is polyester, and 10.5 ounces is 220 yards. My guess is I can get 3 or 4 strips from this, and I bought 6 of these at a really good price. There was a sale. Yay, sales! So yeah, so I've already worked on one. Next episode I should be able to show you how many strips I got done. This goes by fast, and I think that's what I really want. I want this blanket on my bed, and this is like the perfect color. And it's machine washable, which the other thing I don't believe would have been. So yay! So we're doing that, and let us move on to our next segment, wherein we talk about the bucket list project. And we're going to interrupt our regularly scheduled segment to really talk about the best of 2015. I hope you have made some beautiful things in 2015. I also hope that you will hop on down to my Ravelry group, because I do have one. We are called the Crochet Fiberists, and with the parens around the S. So yeah. So as Crochet Fiberists, I would love to see your top 2015 projects. I'm gonna drop that as a question in the show notes. And if you don't know, when I drop the show notes into Ravelry, what I always try to do is add like a little question. I think I asked your favorite drink. I think I asked some other thing, but I try to ask something interesting and kind of give you my insights. I would definitely covet knowledge about your favorite 2015 project. And in that spirit, I will offer the ones that I am super, super in love with. First of all, of course, the Andromeda Shawl is amazing. Secondly, this Berrily Cowl is fantabulous. I gifted my mother the original one in purple, and she's going to dry clean it, which is perfect because it's an acrylic blend anyway. But yeah, this one is just amazing. I love the colors. I love how it turned out. I love everything about this project. It's just amazing. And it was my first project, or a first pattern in a really, really long time. And I'm really glad. I'm thrilled at how it turned out. So there's that. This, what did I call it? Corrugated Ribbon. My first big handspun project that turned into a finished item. This is Corrugated Ribbon. This is all the yarn I worked on during the Tour de Fleece this year. And it's a cashmere blended with everything. It is amazing, and it's gorgeous. So this is something I really, really love for 2015. Subverted geometry, or geometry subverted, is just an amazingly interesting idea. I've got one on the hooks right now. I just haven't gotten back to it. This version really sings to me, and I'm so excited. It's just gorgeous, and it's really warm. I think it's cashmere silk paired with a gradient alpaca silk, which is nice. My favorite, my Fauxweight Cardigan, turned out so lovely, and I wore it until it got too cold to wear everywhere. It's just a great little piece, and I hope to have some other cardigans in the new year that follows this principle. There's that. And I think this, well, okay, 2 more things. This was very close. This almost became number 1. My Tunisian socks, they just did something to me. They weren't the best executed. They were definitely experimental, the ETSs, and I just love them so much. I have so many ideas to move forward with these socks, so there's that. But I think, honestly, my favorite thing, I believe, and I should have checked Ravelry to be sure, but I think my favorite piece of 2015, and I think this is either late 2014, I don't think so, I think this was the first thing I cast on in 2015, is my Ziggurat Remixed, which is just glorious. Lots of merino alpaca silk. It's a beautiful piece, and I wear this all the time. So there's that. I would, again, please join me. Post on Instagram if you'd like, or I would like to hear from you guys on Ravelry. I've been kind of there banging my drum by myself. There have been a couple of people who've responded and talked, but in 2016, I'm going to be moving in a different direction for our group. We are going to be doing fiber stories where we incorporate the things in our fiber history that have made us who we are today, and making pieces that are inspired of that. So stay tuned. Start thinking about the sorts of things that really shaped you as a fiberist since your journey began. So let's see, wearable art. Actually, that cavalcade pretty much represents wearable art. We also had the Andromeda Cowl, or no, sorry, the Andromeda Shawl, the Andromeda Cowl. I wore that. I also wore the Beale Hats, though I didn't wear them as much because I'm in a natural state, so it's hard to fit my hats on my head, which means I need to work on a hat that will accommodate thicker tresses. I need to think about that. That's still trendy, but doesn't make me look like a weirdo. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's something I'm considering. All right, so Spinmeister. I did not work on anything, but I did pick up something. And the title of this project is Always Be Nice to Your LYS, and really get yourself plugged in if you're close to one. I know Molly and some other folks, you just don't have that kind of community person to person, but if you have that opportunity, I highly urge you to do that, and here's why. As you get to know these people, they get to know your preferences. The proprietress or the proprietor will get to know your interest and the things they see you like. They will mention, you know, oh, I saw that and that's perfect for you. Or, you know, you'll hear about sales before perhaps the rest of the maddening crowd. Or in my case, they might see you pick up something and go, oh, they say, well, here's the story. I think yeah, I did mention this. The Knitmore girls put out essentially a blast email or a blast Facebook post about 25,000 tucks, whatever, the hats, and mentioned that somebody was less than respectful in their response to their request or their blast of knowledge. And I was pretty pissed off. I'm not even going to pretend. I felt that people should probably use the sense they were given and not just say moronic things out loud. So in solidarity with the Knitmores and with the entire fibering community who are not insane, I decided to stop by Pearlescence while I was in the area. I'm taking care of some things and pick up some yarn for hats. So I went in, had no intention of picking this up. And I saw this. This is cashmere top. This is cashmere top from Opulent Fibers. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sorry, you can't. It's a cashmere top. It's black. It's been dyed. You don't see that a whole lot. Just a straight cashmere dyed. I used this fiber except in blue for my Tour de Fleece spinning and the subsequent shawl. But you normally don't see cashmere in black hand-dyed. But I've been looking at this for like 6 months easy, and it turns out the proprietress who provides this fiber, this is Opulent Fibers, can no longer get any of it. So when I went in and I mentioned, oh, I'd like to buy a little of that, they said, you know, you can have the rest of it for 50% off. I'm sure you, if you are a fiber person, know that cashmere is not an expensive fiber. So almost 12 ounces, half price. You'd be crazy to say no. So I didn't. And I am now super, super excited to add this and make this kind of like a staple yarn to apply with other things, which is amazing. I can't wait to dive into this. In the new year, however, I have a couple of projects I want to finish first, and also something I want to get for my Ashford wheel. I don't know if you guys know a whole lot about spinning, but there have not been a whole lot of there haven't been a lot of things that have really moved our fibering forward. I think adding electricity to the wheel is the last really, really big step. And however, within the last, I want to say 10-15 years, there came an idea called the woolly winder. And the woolly winder, if you've worked on a wheel for any length of time, one of the things you'll notice is there are hooks on either side of there are hooks or ways to move your fiber up and down your bobbin. There are a lot of ways that this works itself out. In some of my wheels, I have a sliding hook. In this particular wheel, I have little thingies right here. I don't know what they're called. That you just move, kind of like just individual hooks that you move from side to side to fill up your bobbin evenly. Woolly winders change that. They allow you to fill up just to keep focusing on the spinning and not stopping to move your hooks. Now, there are positives and negatives, and for a really, really long time I've resisted it. And then I didn't have a wheel that could accommodate a woolly winder because they are custom made and only certain people can get them, or certain wheels. They're only made for certain wheels. But I finally just said, you know what, I just want to try it. So I'm going to be ordering, I think, in the next couple of weeks, a woolly winder for my Ashford electric wheel. And we'll see how that works out. I will definitely keep you guys informed. And yeah, that is what is up in my neck of the woods. I'm going to add a little blather. Thank you, Dr. Gemma. I just stole your little segment. It's not a little segment, it's an epic segment. But I just stole her blather segment. I think she is the person who created the blather section in Fibercraftum. Anyway, so for blather, yay, hi Dr. Gemma. She just put out part 1 and 2 of her podcast. The Knitmores are still chugging along, even during the holidays. I have to admire them because I just could not get myself together. The excuses ran from, oh, it's too cold in the house, to, oh, I got home super, super late, which makes no sense because we have these things called lights and electricity, and you can make it not look super bad, but whatever. I'm glad to be back. I hope to be next week starting the Rediscovered Stitches on Saturday, because this Saturday I have a meeting with my dear friend, and just getting back into the swing of things. Life has been amazing. My job has been beyond amazing, and I thank those of you who have listened to my sordid saga, for being supportive. It's really nice to know that there are other people who can empathize, even if or sympathize, even if they've never been in the same situation. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm really, really glad and looking forward to 2016, where we will talk about new fibers, new fun, and just a way to build community within the crochet fiber group. So, on that happy note, I bid you adieu, and I hope you continue fibering. Bye.